everybody, welcome back to my Project 13. Thanks for coming on by and checking out the early morning vlog. This is a video test with the Motorola Edge 5G. Full HD. Stabilization is on. Let me know how everything looks, how everything sounds. Appreciate you watching this video. Sharing the reviewing process with me with the Motorola Edge, the mid-range phone from Motorola. For those of you that have watched the unboxing, thank you so much. I have another video up as well, testing out the front shooter while shooting vid, 1080p 30 frames per second. You do not get 60 frames per second. And that's where I'm a little disappointed. So far, this smartphone is really doing really good. I can't get to the great yet because I'm still reviewing it. And one thing I've learned over the years when reviewing smartphones is not to jump way ahead of myself. The experience so far within a few days has been really good. There's obviously going to be some negatives. There's going to be some positives. And hopefully the negatives are little ones. Sometimes the negatives can just be little annoyances. Right now, at this point, for 500 smacks, that's what I paid, purchased over at Best Buy, I can live without some of the areas that I wish were here on this smartphone as far as the cameras. At 700, when it goes back up, I don't know. There's even at 500, there's a lot of smartphones out there that will have a little more to offer in the area of the cameras. And you know me, I love taking pictures, I love shooting videos, and that's why I'm talking about that. So front-facing cam, 1080p 30 frames a second. If you watch that video, it is a little shaky, the one I just recently uploaded, and has a little rattling, but that's due to the mount. That's not the Motorola Edge, okay? So just so you know that when you watch that video, but it's very clear as far as visually, and audio quality is great, but you don't get 60 frames per second, and that's what I'm getting at. You don't get 1080p 60 frames per second. There are smartphones right now at that $700 price point that you can get 4K at 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. The rear camera, 4K 30 frames per second, no 60 frames per second. I personally think Motorola could have implemented 60 frames per second on the front, even if they had kept it at 1080p on the front, but still 60 frames per second. So I think that's one of my biggest complaints right now with this smartphone. But from what I'm seeing at 1080p 30 frames per second, and for what I paid, I can live with that. I don't know if you can, but I can. Picture quality from what I'm getting and what I'm seeing, and I'm going to be sharing those pictures with you in a later video. Wow. And I'll throw a few samples up in this video. But wow. I'm really impressed. Still a lot of testing to go through. And please watch these videos. These early morning vlog videos aren't just early morning vlogs. It's when I talk about, if I'm reviewing a smartphone, this is when I talk a lot about the reviewing process and what I'm going through with whatever smartphone I'm reviewing. I'm sharing it with you. So please watch these videos because it's just not an early morning thing. Okay? This is where I share information. A lot of YouTubers, they'll get in front of the camera and share that information with you. They'll sit at their YouTube desk and give you that information. I will do that from time to time. But this is really when I share a lot of my information on little tidbits of information that may help you when deciding whether you're going to bring in a smartphone that I'm reviewing. You're doing your homework. You're watching YouTube reviewers review that smartphone. You're reading up on it on the web. You're checking out my vids. So think about the price point, you know, where it's at right now, where it's going to go, when I say 500, it's because $499.99. Okay, and it's going to go back up to $699.99. So 500 to 700. And if you love taking a lot of pictures and videos, I'm sure you're going to be impressed with the quality of the pictures. The video so far, I am impressed with. But again, more testing to do. I'm going to do some 4K vid too. But it's just that 60 frames per second isn't there when shooting 4K or at 1080p on the front shooter. It's just 30 frames per second at 1080p. So on the back 4K, 30 frames per second, no 60 frames per second. So you know what I'm saying. And that's a little disappointing. But I can live with it at 500 smacks. I can live with it. Outside of that, man, speaker quality, the audio that's being delivered into my ears is amazing. Is it the loudest? No. But the quality of the audio that's being delivered is amazing. When listening to music, watching videos, watching movies, sounds great. And as far as the display, I mentioned this in the video yesterday that I have uploaded, that the video test with the front shooter. Display is at 1080p. Oh my freaking goodness, man. It is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. One of the best out there that I've had in hand watching movies or videos. Wow. Yeah, I'm digging it. It's a very light device. I mentioned that too in that video. Let's go watch that video. I would appreciate it, and leave some feedback. So obviously some rough road right back there. Let me know how everything looks as far as the shakiness. With that, I did tighten up my mount. That it was loose in that video. That's why there was that rattling. So hopefully I don't have that rattling going on right now. I did tighten it up. It should be a little more stable. Again, the stabilization is on while shooting this video in full HD, 1080p. It's 30 frames per second, and big bump right there. We're in the dark, very low light situation, so you have to consider that, and you have to consider the fact that not a lot of you are going to be shooting video like this. This is something that I do again to share a lot of other information with all of you. The early morning vlog is a bunch of things, a bunch of areas. It's a bunch of whatevers, and so whatever I want to talk about, whatever in my head, and yes, it's part of the reviewing process. But a lot of you aren't going to be shooting video like this, so think about that. And you're not going to be shooting video in a car, whether it's in the dark or during the day. You're going to be standing still for the most part, maybe walking around shooting video, and I think you're going to be impressed. But the build quality is really, really nice. Again, it's a thin, it feels small, but you got a 6.7-inch OLED display. You got the 90 hertz refresh rate. All of those areas killing it. Connectivity, so far, no issues whatsoever. T-Mobile, my carrier, where I live here locally. So all that is thumbs up. Performance, functionality, and battery life isn't going to be an issue with that 4,500 milliamp battery. So this is some information I shared in that video test as well. I'm going to be doing another video test using the front shooter because of the mount being a little loose. I want to redo that, and because you could actually hear the rattling of my mount in that video, and that kind of annoys me. So anyway, that's where we're at. I am playing some free music in the background, and let me know how everything looks, how everything sounds during this video. And hopefully there's not any focus on it. If there is, hopefully it's very, very minimal. But yeah, let me know how this sounds. I'm gonna roll down the windows. Woo! This video is being shot 19 by 5.9 aspect ratio. That's it, everybody. I am done. I appreciate you coming on by. Thanks for checking out this video test. More to come from the Motorola Edge. Stay safe and healthy. God bless you all. Be kind to one another. Thanks for making Team My Project happen. Peace. I am out.